All right, Bears fans, welcome back. Bear down, and of course, we hit December and we're out of the playoffs, right? So what do Bears fans have to do except for mock draft after mock draft? But understanding this roster, where the roster stands, where it's headed, we think we understand those things, and then Ryan Poles does things we don't understand. There's a lot of good that he does too, but today we're going to focus on the defensive ends. We already did the defensive tackles for this upcoming draft class, and this is what this class is known for, defensive linemen. Defensive ends especially. This edge class is by far the most talented edge class in a long, long time. So we look where the Bears stand right now, and right now Montez Sweat, Gervon Dexter, really the only two on this team that are worth their weight. We need a new edge. We need pressure. We need a defensive tackle. We need pressure. We need pressure. I don't know how any other way to say it than I've been saying it for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. Those who watch this channel, we have to get pressure to make this defense work. Even if we don't keep a 4-3, which is a question a lot of people are having, if we don't keep a 4-3 and we go to a 3-4, we're going to have to draft some new talent. Yes, Austin Booker can fill into that role very well, but he hasn't shown anything this year that he's developed, that he's ready to step up to that big role. There are some big players, Abdul Carter, James Pearce, this year that could go either direction on a 3-4 or 4-3. But either way, get tons and tons of pressure. So we've got to have guys that get pressure. We already focused on the defensive tackle video. If I didn't mention that, I'm going to put that in the description of this video. I'll link that one so you can look to that one as well. But today, let's focus on the edges. So here's last year's draft class, just to give a reference. And last year had some really good players, players that had some high potential. We highlighted Darius Robinson. He hasn't really played at all this year for Arizona. He got drafted high. They took him really high, higher than most thought he should go. I started highlighting him here when he was around 118. Most had him projected going around the second round. He ended up going in the first round, mostly out of necessity of a draft class that wasn't super deep. But you did have guys at the top. There was a lot of hype over, like Chop Robinson, Latu, Jared Verse, Dallas Turner. A lot of those guys had a lot of buzz around them leading into the draft. And we'll move me off screen just for a minute for this one so we can see. And here's how they're performing. So right here's college. Here's the projection for them, kind of where they thought they might go. This is the PFF rank. This is the Draft Buzz rank where they stood with each of those. I changed the way I grade those and scale those for you guys now. But here's Jared Verse. Here's Latu, kind of the 1-2 that everyone thought should go 1-2. And, well, actually a ton of people had Dallas Turner. I didn't have Dallas Turner going nearly that high. If you watch this channel, you understood that I wasn't as high on Dallas Turner. And Jared Verse and Latu are 1 and 2 this year. The only grades above 70 in the league, and the only two that are really having spectacular years so far. And Jared Verse, clearly the lead on that. All of them struggling a little bit with the tackling, but really good pressure by some of these top guys. Jared Verse, Latu, Chop Robinson. Those three guys have become the 1, 2, 3 in this draft, as kind of predicted, but not a deep draft class. Like we said, Austin Booker down there. This is minimum snap count, so obviously not every single player drafted in 2025 is on here, or 2024, but this is the 2024 draft class. Austin Booker, developmental, so this isn't a shocker. He needs to come along. He needs to get bigger. He needs to get some more technique. So nothing shocker there. I'm not trying to bash on Booker there. He is what we thought he was. And we're letting him off the hook. No, he's going to improve. He's going to be just fine. But let's take for reference and see where our beloved Chicago Bears are. And you got Montez Sweat, DeMarcus Walker, Austin Booker, Darrell Taylor, Jacob Martin, Dominique Robinson. There's a lot of red in here. We don't like that red at all. Montez Sweat, even though fans aren't the happiest with him, he gets pressure. He's creating stuff. Even though he's not always the one getting the sacks and the ones getting all the tackles or the stat lines. In fact, DeMarcus Walker, sorry, I meant Montez Sweat. If I said DeMarcus Walker, I'm talking about Montez Sweat. DeMarcus Walker is graded higher, but I don't agree with that at all if you watch on tape and you look at the inner metrics here, which I think are important. His tackling is lower. His pressure's lower. His sack hits and hurries are lower. 7.08 is actually pretty good. You look down here at Jacob Martin and Dominique Robinson, and Jacob Martin's been injured most of the year. Dominique Robinson doesn't get many snaps, and I agree. All these for Dominique Robinson, these are more in garbage time. They're not against ones. So this is skewed, and that's what happened. They don't have a ranking because they haven't received enough playing time. So this is skewed. But it's enough for me to say, well, let's give him some reps against the ones. Let's see what Dominique Robinson does. I was hard on Dominique Robinson before this year. Those who watch this channel know that I wanted him cut. He wasn't worth his weight. He was having a terrible career up till now. He's put a lot of work in this offseason. He's transformed his body quite a bit, a lot like Gervon Dexter. And maybe that's getting there. He's got an 81 grade on defense. And again, take into when you don't see a grade over here, they haven't had enough snaps. But you see Austin Booker, Darrell Taylor. Darrell Taylor started off the year pretty hot. And, man, he just fizzled off fast. Very not Yannick Ngakoue is what I compared there. I've said that about Jacob Martin, too. A lot of high potential, but a lot of not good plays as well. And Darrell Taylor hasn't panned out, so I wouldn't expect us to bring him back. So far, Montez Sweat's the only starter quality. DeMarcus Walker would be a decent backup, and we've got him on contract, so he's going to be with us. I don't want him starting anymore, though. He doesn't create pressure across from Montez Sweat. He brings Montez Sweat's game down, and he does. So I'd like to see these guys get some more reps through the rest of the year, but we clearly need a game-changing difference maker across the field from Montez Sweat. We got to have another playmaker. And I'm not going to focus on this one. No, I didn't even put their stats up there. I didn't even pull them up because I don't think this is the route the Bears go is free agency. I did this in the tackle video, so I'm going to do it here. I'm going to highlight some of the ones. I'm not putting their stats up because I don't think this is the route the Bears go. We've already paid one defensive end big money. To pay another one when this draft class is coming out, most importantly, this draft class is stacked, and I'll show you that in 2 seconds. But just some of the names that are coming, there are some good defensive ends coming out in this free agent class that are coming up to free agency. Our good friend Khalil Mack, you've got Hassan Reddick, you got Josh Sweat, you got Malcolm Kuntz. That's among others. There are a handful or more of good defensive ends, but I'm not going to highlight them in this video. I'm just going to let you know there are some, if we do go that route of hitting free agency, there are some good ones out there. All right, all the build-up, we're getting to the reveal. This is the tackles. I already went on this in the other video. I'm going to take me off just because there's so much information here to go over. Here's the tackles. For reference, look at this long list all the way into the mid-fifth round that you're looking here. Here's the edge class for this year. This is bizarre. A longer list of top-quality candidates that, by consensus, are ranked. Look at this. All these guys in the first 3 rounds. This is stacked. This is a stacked edge class, and it's not little. Let me bring me. You can see where some of those are down at the bottom there. Boop. I will slide over just a little. I'm in here. Okay. Anyways, not a comedian. Just watching. Just doing a show. All right. So Abdul Carter is by consensus the number 1. James Pearce, Nick Scourton, Mikael Williams, Princely Umanmielen, Jack Sawyer, Landon Jackson. I mean, really some solid guys. Even later in here, Ashton Gillette, Kyle Kennard, Donovan Iziriuko. I don't know how to say his name. A lot of people like Mike Green. I don't like his missed tackles, but I do like his play. But it's a smaller school, so I'm not super high on it. Jordan Birch, still later on, I think. Jared Ivey and Tyler Barron, really, I mean, there's a lot of steals in this edge class. So there's a lot of ways this could go. I mean, the Bears could see that and like some of these guys later on and maybe like a dozen of these guys and say we really like all these guys. Or they can really, target out and say, well, Abdul Carter's a can't miss. We got to have him. The pressure he generates. Or James Pearce, 4.48 plays between a pressure. That's absolutely unheard of. It is bizarre. So if we go after James Pearce, I won't be shocked. 0 missed tackle percentage. He's more, I mean, he would fit both a 4-3 and a 3-4. He would. Same with a lot of these guys. Some bigger guys, though, like Jack Sawyer, I really like. Princely Umanmielen is right behind him right there. They're both right around the same. But Nick Scourton, big. If you want the big guy, he's going to have more missed tackles, though. Landon Jackson, huge as well. Shamar Stewart. So there's a lot in this class, and you can pick up a ton in that second round range. I think Princely and Jack Sawyer will both go in the first round. I really do. Landon Jackson would be in the second round, but look at all these guys. Ashton Gillette, Kyle Kennard, Mike Green, Jordan Birch, Jared Ivey. I mean, so we could pick up that offensive lineman in the early second and still pick up one of these guys in the middle second or even in the third round. There's so many options with this draft class. So this is why I keep preaching that I think the number 1 priority, if Mason Graham isn't there at number 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 or wherever the Bears end up picking, if he's not there, because he is the true game changer on that defensive line, the defensive tackle. Mason Graham is the true game changer. If he's not there, we trade back and get another second rounder, maybe even a second and a third rounder if we drop far enough. I mean, if you're sitting at 7 or 8 or 9 and you drop all the way to 17, 18, 19, 20, you should be able to pick up a swap for first this year from someone and a second and a third this year. You should if you drop far enough. So that would be a huge opportunity for the Bears. They could end up picking up Jack Sawyer and Jared Ivey. I mean, you want, obviously, blue chip players, but here there's so many good options. I like the idea of trading down. Then you could pick up even a running back, or you could pick up another offensive lineman to be able to have depth because we're struggling so much. But a lot of really good names and options here. I'll leave this up so you guys can see. You can pause it. You can go. Abdul Carter, his game is so fierce and so intense that missed tackle percentage isn't really a deterrent for me. His game is a lot like James Pearce, a lot nastier though. I'm not concerned about him. This is one where you look at tape and that missed tackle percentage, kind of an anomaly in my opinion. I don't think it's something that it could be fine at the NFL level, especially if you've got big run stuffers like Mason Graham or like Walter Nolan that you get at defensive tackle. So a lot of good options here though. Then I'll move me up, and if you see here, there's some sleepers later on. I mean, some of these wouldn't even be in the other video. These guys would be on the main list. But some of the guys that I really like for the Bears, these missed tackles are a little concerning on some of them, but the pressure on some of these. Antoine Powell-Ryland, really solid prospect. Let me see. I really liked as well Quandarius Robinson from Alabama. A little small, though. But there's some good options later on, too, if we're looking at sleepers. Say we take one of these guys in the second round and we want another edge to develop as well. This is the draft to do that if you can pick up an extra draft pick, or even if you're going to use your 6th or 7th rounder. There's some really good options for the edges here. All right, so just like the other video, my favorites, Princely Umanmielen is my favorite for the Bears. I would absolutely love him. I mean, just athletic. He's an athletic freak. He's got a high motor, good size, 6'4", 255, and he's quick as well. His development has progressed. It's been good, been really good. His tackling has gotten better. His run defense has gotten better. His pass rush is off the charts. You look at his pass rush grade, 98, but his run defense is also 84%. Strong tackler, and I want that for the Bears at defensive end as well as defensive tackle, so I like it. Very consistent, versatile. He's agile. I really like, I think I'm covering up his picture. I really like Princely Umanmielen. So he's kind of my favorite. They have him falling, by consensus, kind of falling right around the end of the first round. I wouldn't risk it. I'd take him in the late teens to early 20s if I'm the Bears. And I think you can get him there. So if you did do the trade back method, you could get him, or you can get Walter Nolan, same team. Man, there's so many good options at the defensive line in this draft. Next up is James Pearce. You're going to get him earlier in the first round. More of a hybrid, and I would say he's more of a Micah Parsons, maybe, or even Chop Robinson. Very comparable there, too. So a little bit smaller, not huge, 243, but 6'5", but very quick, very lean, very agile. And as I showed on the other screen, his pressure rate is off the chart. You look down here, 233 pressure opportunities and 52 total pressures. And the same as last year, 246, 52. So his pass rush grade is off the chart. And the Bears need that. They need pressure. So number 2 would be James Pearce. And my number 3 right here would be Jack Sawyer. I really like Jack Sawyer. Same thing. You look at these, 42 out of 249 opportunities. High pressure rate. Really good. But he's a run stuffer. And he's bigger, 260 pounds, 4'6" or 4.640. Well built. I mean, he's just built like a tank, and I like that in a Bears style of defense. Very explosive off the ball. He's got a lot of moves. He's got a cross chop. He's got a swim move. When you watch him on tape, he's got a lot of things that he can do to get the offensive player off balance. So I really like Jack Sawyer as well. And if I come back here, there's tons more. These are just my top ones. So Princely Umanmielen is my favorite one, then James Pearce. And then it would be Jack Sawyer here, but I like Landon Jackson a lot. I really like Donovan Ezeriaku. Ashton Gillette, I like a ton. Jordan Birch, I like a lot. Jared Ivey, I like a lot. There's just a lot of defensive ends in this class. It's a really good class for that. So let me know what you guys think about your options here. It just gives the Bears real flexibility if they wanted to trade down, if they want to be able to pick someone later, or if the right guy falls early enough and they fall in love with someone. There's just so many options in this class. So we should find someone to go across from Montez Sweat this next year. The Bears should fill that need, and it's one of the biggest needs we need to do. So there's the Edge video. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you don't mind hitting the like button, I appreciate that you do that. If you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate you doing that as well. Until next time, da Bears, and bear down.